Report is in progress.
Perfect. It's a pretty small room, so if anybody has a question, just go ahead and unmute yourself, and we'll see if we can answer it.
Hi, Michaela. My name is Kate Fields, and I am curious as to whether the res check is still in place as part of a residential permit application, or does this Appendix AJ provide different guidance around compliance?
So Appendix AJ will address repairs, alterations, additions, and changes of occupancy, and it points you to the IECC provisions as it relates to additions, alterations, changes of occupancy. So all of the IECC requirements will still remain in Chapter 11 or in IECC. And res check specifically, you know, I highly recommend that you bounce out of this meeting and join the IECC breakout for IECC specific questions.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Michaela. Can I ask a question?
Sure, Sam.
So, which brought up a pretty good point. Most people tend to submit a res check regardless of what their permit application is, whether it's prescriptive or non-prescriptive.
Mm-hmm.
Are they required to have a res check when they're following a prescriptive path?
So this is so for the prescriptive path, we actually will have to look at that through our building code policy as it relates to the next IECC pathways, is what our submittal requirements are. We do not have that posted at this moment. As Eric outlined, there are substantial edits to the IECC, and submittal requirements will likely change.
Thank you.
Did that answer? Are you talking about today's requirements, Sam?
Today's requirements versus our next code cycle change requirements, yes, is what I'm talking.
Yep.
So is it just one more, is it something that is going to be required, which doesn't sound like it's determined or not, whether they're following a prescriptive path or a performance path?
Hasn't been determined yet.
Okay.
Great question. Anybody else have a question?
I have another one, Michaela, before I jump into the IECC one. And I know this, you're probably going to tell me that you don't have an answer to this, but is the zoning going to change to better accommodate ADUs and easier application of those, given all the peculiarities of site constraints?
So I can answer that. This meeting is specific to the building code, but as most people in this meeting know, I do supervise both the building and zoning code group that reviews 1 and 2 family structures. So in July 1st, 2021, there were substantial edits made to the Denver zoning code. That was a bundle change. At that time, there were some changes made to remove some barriers to ADU building form requirements in the Denver zoning code. Currently, there is a planning services project called ADUs in Denver, and that is a coordinated effort through planning services with community members to look at all code requirements, zoning code requirements related to ADUs, including looking at site constraints and it will not address rezonings, but it will be looking directly at zoning code requirements related to that. And if I find the link for that plane services project on our website, I will put it in the chat for you.
Thanks. So is there going to be an expanded opportunity in zone districts to allow for ADUs more globally? Because at the moment, I believe it's still pretty restricted.
It is, so currently ADUs and their allowance is outlined in the use table. To expand where they're allowed, you would have to seek out to our rezoning team. There has been some approvals through spot rezonings for ADUs in some zone districts and neighborhood contexts.
Yeah, most folks don't want to go through a rezoning process on a project. So, I mean, I think there's just a wait and see maybe as to how successful they are in their current deployment in other neighborhoods before they become more globally applied potentially.
All right, we have about 2 minutes left before we return to the main lobby. If anybody else has another question, we could probably fit it in.
Hi, Jill Simmons here. I have a question. I believe it's Appendix M. Is that still going to exist in the updated code? It's a state accessibility standard.
Let me double check for you.
Sure.
And we're showing 1 minute left. Amanda's gonna close this room.
Yep.
Go ahead, Michaela.
One second. So Appendix AM is for home daycare and R3 occupancy, and it's adopted as amended.
That's not it. I think it's called Appendix M only, just the letter M. And it's been in the Denver amendments for about 20 years or more. And it requires a point system. It's not administered by the city. They're very careful to say that it's shown by reference, but I've known projects that got kind of stung because it didn't comply with that.
We have, so typically in the base code, it's ABC, but we have added the letter A to all of our appendices.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
they must have then changed the whole thing. All right, I'll just wait till the draft comes out and I'll check it myself.
Yeah, I can put a link for the draft, which is posted on our website in the chat.
Okay.
All right, everybody, if you click the leave room button, make sure you don't leave meeting, just leave room, and that'll take you back to the lobby.